All right, let's just skip the usual introductions today. We're diving straight into a massive, frankly mind-blowing question. How on earth is a gas famous for floating party balloons actively threatening a $650 billion global AI rollout?
I mean, it sounds like a punchline, right? A joke. But how exactly is this everyday party trick putting global healthcare systems and a massive chunk of our most advanced digital infrastructure in jeopardy? Well, today in this explainer, we're going to trace the invisible thread that connects helium to the very survival of modern technology. Section 1. The invisible strategic resource. Okay, first things first, we aren't talking about the crude helium you'd find at a local party store. We need to look at the reality of high-purity grade A helium. This stuff is a finite, totally non-renewable resource formed by radioactive decay deep underground. It's extracted almost exclusively as a byproduct of natural gas processing. And, well, it is literally the irreplaceable backbone of modern tech.
See, helium possesses these seemingly contradictory superpowers. On one hand, it's the ultimate heat conductor, which makes it absolutely perfect for etching silicon wafers. Yet, at the exact same time, it's the ultimate cryogenic cooler. It's the only substance capable of reaching 4 Kelvin. To put that into perspective, that's minus 269 degrees Celsius. Nothing else on Earth comes even close to doing both of these things.
Section 2. The 2026 geopolitical supply shock.
Now, because extracting and separating helium requires these massive cryogenic distillation facilities, its production is dangerously concentrated. Just look at the Strait of Hormuz. It is the single choke point for all Qatari liquefied natural gas and helium exports. And the closure of this narrow waterway, right in the middle of the ongoing Iran conflict, has completely gridlocked these vital shipments.
And the cascade of failures happened incredibly fast. On March 2nd, Qatar halted operations. Literally 2 days later, by March 4th, force majeure was declared. Subsequent missile strikes damaged critical infrastructure, wiping out 17% of Qatar's LNG capacity just like that. Instantly, up to 30% of the global helium supply just vanished from the market, forcing any of the remaining ships to take a massive, time-consuming detour all the way around Africa. So, here's where the ticking clock comes in. 35 to 48 days. That is the crucial window. Liquid helium is stranded in specialized cryogenic ISO containers right now. And these containers begin boiling off, basically venting the precious gas right into the atmosphere after roughly a month. So those rerouted ships, they're literally losing their cargo into thin air before they even reach their destinations. Helium industry expert Phil Kornbluth summed it up perfectly with this absolutely chilling quote. "There is a tsunami coming, but it's still 1,000 miles offshore. Because fixing the infrastructure in Qatar is going to take years, and alternate suppliers like Russia have halted their exports to preserve their own domestic supply, a massive structural deficit isn't just possible anymore, it's imminent." Section 3. Semiconductors and the AI risk. So what does this all mean for tech? Well, when you're manufacturing the world's most advanced computer chips, missing even a single input can halt an entire fabrication line. And helium's role? It's non-negotiable. It cools the silicon wafers during etching, it maintains the flawless vacuums required for extreme ultraviolet or EUV lithography, and it prevents pattern distortion at advanced nodes. There are absolutely no practical substitutes available for this process without completely destroying chip yields. Simply put, if you want advanced AI chips, you need helium. Look at who is most exposed to this risk. South Korea. In 2025, tech giant Samsung and SK Hynix imported nearly 65% of their helium directly from Qatar. That is an enormous dependency sitting right in the crosshairs of this supply shock.
And this cascades into an eye-watering figure, $650 billion. With supply lines strained for major foundries like TSMC, the estimated $650 billion in planned global AI infrastructure by massive hyperscalers, the very servers powering our modern digital lives, is now directly at risk. Without helium, the entire AI boom literally hits a hard brick wall. Section 4. The healthcare and MRI crisis. But it's not just our digital world that's suffering. This is where the shortage moves from a tech industry problem to a very real, direct human cost. Hospitals have long treated helium as just a routine consumable, right? But in reality, it is an irreplaceable clinical asset. Think about this. A single MRI scanner requires 1,500 liters of liquid helium just to function. Because of this massive dependency,
Global healthcare accounts for nearly 30% of all global helium consumption. And if that supply runs dry, we face a terrifying scenario known in the industry as a quench. A quench happens when a superconducting magnet loses helium and warms up, potentially causing permanent, catastrophic damage to the MRI machine itself. This risk is forcing hospitals to actually ration their scans, delaying critical cancer and neurological detections among the roughly 40 million annual scans in the US alone.
The financial strain on healthcare is immense. Spot prices have surged anywhere from 40 to 100%. Suppliers declaring force majeure are triggering massive contract renegotiations across the board. And because of that boil-off issue we discussed earlier, hospitals simply cannot stockpile helium. It's a fiercely competitive market right now, with life-saving medical imaging competing directly with multi-billion-dollar chip fabs for whatever gas is left.
Section 5. Adapting to a helium-free future. Faced with this reality, the world's brightest engineers are racing to adapt. In the industrial sector, mitigation is all about recycling. Samsung is urgently deploying helium reuse systems to capture and purify exhaust gas, and TSMC is already achieving 80 to 90% recycling rates. They're making a massive shift to closed-loop models. But with limited new supply, whatever pure helium they do get is being aggressively prioritized for those high-margin AI chips.
The breakthrough on the healthcare side is just as impressive. Enter the Philips Blue Seal Horizon 3.0T. This is the world's first helium-free 3.0T MRI platform, which was unveiled at RSNO 2025. What it does is permanently seal just 7 liters of helium into the cryogenic circuit. This saves millions of liters globally and completely ends the dependency on constant helium refills. It's a truly revolutionary adaptation.
It's amazing how a single element can hold the entire modern world together, isn't it? So I want to leave you with this question to think about. What other invisible materials is our modern world dangerously dependent upon? The helium crisis really shows us that true vulnerability often hides in plain sight. Thanks so much for learning with me in today's Explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.